What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
And I have a fan going, so if you hear my blinds, that's what that is.
Well, I have the same thing. I have my window open right
no,
here.
But I have the blinds are the long ones, so they like smack against each other.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't think you'll hear it, but got an ice machine over the weekend, and it makes noise like when it, like the one that sounds like someone's knocking on the door. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, but I was so lazy. I told Mom, I said this is out of pure laziness. I just hate refilling the ice trays, and then because I want ice every single day, so found a nice small one.
If you have a use for it, I don't think it's lazy. If there's a legitimate use for it, I don't think that's lazy at all. I think there's
legitimate use for it.
Yeah.
Because I like, when I make my coffee, I make iced coffee, and I like a lot of ice in my iced coffee, because if not, it's like a lukewarm, and I don't like that. So, I'd rather have it filled to the brim of ice, so then I can pour my coffee, because it's going to melt as I pour the coffee over the ice, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, on that note, welcome back to F1 Underground.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome
as we
back.
Get a rundown of our coffee preferences.
Our weekend, it feels like it's Monday because yesterday we were off. It's really messed me up. I feel like we're recording on a Monday. But no, it's Tuesday. It is, what are you looking at?
It is Tuesday. I'm trying to find our latest post about our episode so we know what episode number this is.
62. That's what I'm looking it up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I had to check today because I had my white t-shirt on, my just a white v-neck, and I came home and I was like, I'm pretty sure I wore this last week. So I had to pull it up and I could see it. I was like, yes, I did. I was like, let me change.
In fact, did wear that. Meanwhile, I've probably worn this shirt 10 different times. So
I know I posted that once about that on Threads, and they're like, you think we're gonna notice? I was like, well, it's not if you notice. I know I will notice, and I was like, my mom will notice also. So yes.
Listen, if you've known me for more than 2 years, you know that I have the same rotation of 5 t-shirts.
Yeah, you do.
And that's that. But
that's that.
Regardless, welcome everybody. It's episode 62. Of the F1 Underground podcast.
Next week we're at George Russell number episodes.
We are George Russell's number of episodes. That's good. We should have done that from the start.
Yeah, we should have done that from the start.
All the drivers. Damn. As I'm sure anybody can guess who follows us, we know what this episode is going to be about. But
I should have come in to make an entrance.
Oh my God! You played the Italian, the Monaco national anthem. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the Italian one's a
waltz
banger.
Out of your room. The Italian one is a banger. I will give them that. It's a really good one.
It's the
yeah, it's very good. But yeah, like you said, as you can guess, we're going to be covering Monaco today. We're going to talk about our review and recap of the race. I feel like I'm going to annoy a lot of people here. To me, at least, a very exciing race to watch.
No, really to me at least. Also, that's why I had to post that little freaking rant because I got told it was wrong.
So we'll cover Monaco. We're going to go over IndyCar a little bit. The Indy 500 was this past weekend, the greatest spectacle in racing. I unfortunately did not watch it. Casey did though, so we'll kind of go back and forth with that.
You watched some highlights.
I watched some highlights this morning. I posted it. I am going to watch it. I do really, really want to watch it, but I was not able to on Sunday. So we'll do that. I have a pints and pit stops for Casey, which I think we should do first before we jump into anything, because there's some stuff in the Monaco recap that gets spoiled.
No, but we can do that topic we were just going to talk about before I hit record. Indy 500 recap, pints and pit stops.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. If you're not already, please go follow us on our social medias. It is Underground F1 on Instagram and Threads, and Underground F1 _ Owen as well on Threads. And then on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, it is Underground _ F1. So please go join us there. come hang out, join the party. But yeah, you want to.
And it's wild to say, but the race to 10,000 is on Threads.
The race to 10,000 is on Threads, which is very weird to say, yes, but
very weird. But yes,
we're getting there.
We will start off like normal with our meme of the week. I actually only have one this week. I can go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Because I'm sure yours might be better. So this...
It's such a good response.
This is such a great response. So this comes from Gunther Steiner's Instagram story. He posted a picture of a tape measure and says, "Does anybody want to borrow my tape measure?" Now, I didn't understand this at first because I didn't fully read into the situation, but this is in direct response to the reason why the two Haas's were disqualified from qualifying over the weekend. A component of their rear wing was over the allowed maximum length of, I think it's like 85 millimeters or something like that. So Gunther posted this, and the fact that he posted it is hilarious. B, the fact that Gunther is ex-team principal of Haas just makes it even better. And I think it's Gunther just buying into the personality that people know him from in trying to survive and everything. And I think it's fucking hilarious, the fact that he posted this. So like I said, at first I was like very confused when I saw this and was wondering why he had posted this. And then I like read into it a little bit more in preparation for tonight for recording. And I was like, it like clicked in my head. It was like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, it was like, it makes so much sense now. Like why he posted that. I get it now.
He was so quick with that post too. It was so good. But it was hilarious. I did a double take because I really thought it was like a fan account, like parroting him for posting that at one point. But then I was like, oh no, this is actually him.
His name, Life of Steiner. I was like, there's no way that's Gunther's Instagram handle. And then I like looked it up and I was like, oh shit, it is. All right.
Because if I go to his Instagram, like the last picture he has is the one with Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
But yes, that was Owen's meme of the week. Mine has to do with the Monaco race winners. No surprise there.
Of course.
And then we all know he literally said it on TV where he was going out, and this is him in the. There's no thoughts behind those eyes.
First of all,
he's gone.
He's got to be hammered.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He's got to be so drunk and just buying into the atmosphere of the win and everything. But the fact that first of all, this I think is hilarious what you have here, because it's a 2-second clip and it's literally just his eyes moving.
Yeah.
Just like he's just like, what is happening? Like it's this. My God, he looks toasted.
Also, I know, sorry for the audio listeners, but watch his mouth. Like he does make this like little like twitch of a smile, like he thinks he heard something, but he's not sure. It's so good. It's so good. My meme of the week was literally that, or it was him. Did you see the videos of him with the Monaco flag over his head walking through the bar?
Yes, I did see that. That was also hilarious.
People were like, is that his, like, you can't see him. Was that his invisibility cloak? Like, pretending.
He's not, I'm not here right now. Meanwhile, he's like one of the most famous people ever to come out of Monaco. And he's walking around with the Monaco flag. Like, and
he literally said on TV, I'm going to Jimmy's. Like, okay, we know you're going to, I mean, it was no secret. They all go to Jimmy's after the Monaco Grand Prix, but like, come on.
Yeah, the race message after he won, and he's like, Jimmy's better be ready for us. I was like, oh, and I'm like, everybody's going to hear that and be ready to roll.
Well, yeah, but it did turn out to be, I think it was a Ray-Ban event. I think Ray-Ban ended up sponsoring, like, that's one of his sponsors, so they ended up sponsoring, like, a winner's event. But yeah, no, I thought that was hilarious. That one is going to be used so much because it's literally like,
that's good.
There's elevator music playing in his head right there. But yes, meme of the week. Now, I put on the weekly news thing, but it's not really weekly news. We just want to talk about this quickly. F1 today on social media posted the top 10 driver standings.
Graphic.
Yeah, it's so good. Comparing 2023 to 2024. And the differences are wild.
The differences are insane.
Mm-hmm. First of all, the downfall of Alpine completely on that graphic. Like, how were they 9th and 10th last year? I don't have memory of them being that high up in the standings. Also, the downfall of Alpine. More importantly, Alonso.
Oh, you mean not the downfall of Alpine? You mean the downfall of Aston Martin?
Yeah, sorry, Aston Martin.
Yeah.
But I said more specifically Alonso.
Yes.
The rise of Yuki Tsunoda, like this is the most exciting thing, I think.
Can you quickly read off the top 10s? Can you start with 2023 and then do 2024?
2023, I'm not going to say the points, but 2023, actually, I'm going to say the points for the top 3 because I think or top 4 because it is wild to see. And then for this year, I'll do top 5 because they're much closer. Okay. So top 2023, it's Verstappen, and this was after 8 races. But this year, there's already been 2 sprints. This time last year, there was only 1 sprint. So take that into consideration. But okay, so 2023, obviously Max Verstappen P1. He had 195 points. Perez P2 with 126 points. Alonso P3 with 117 points. Hamilton P4 with 102. And then it goes Sainz, Russell, Leclerc, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly. That's 2023. 2024, obviously, Verstappen, 169. This time last year, 195. P2, Leclerc, 138. P3, Norris, 113. P4, Carlos Sainz, 108. Perez, P5, 107. And then it goes Piastri, Russell, Hamilton, Alonso, Tsunoda.
That's wild. That's such a wild difference.
The McLaren boys aren't even in the top 10 this time last year.
No, because, I mean, we were garbage last year at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were so bad. And the fact that they're not only top 10, but Lando is top 3 is wild. And only that the fact that he's 25 points away from Charles is insane. I mean, it's such a difference, and it's very exciting to see. But yeah, I was happy that F1 put that out, just because I think the top 10 this year is already a good spread and a good mix of different drivers, and the distance in points between them is a good spread. Mm-hmm. Going to see, kind of like what you alluded to, like the fall off of some teams of like Aston Martin and everything, and Alpine, because they were in the top 10 in 2023.
I mean,
is wild to see.
You could even say Mercedes at that point, because Hamilton was in P4. He's P8 right now. George was P6 and he's P7. So like he's really kind of the same, but like Hamilton's drop off. But yeah, Yuki's rise, like that just goes to show you how consistent Yuki's been. And I said this the other day, I said Yuki has been so consistent the minute they made him switch places with Daniel Ricciardo for no reason the first round. And he was pissed. Yeah. Ever since then, he was like, never again. Like
he has really shown his worth ever since the first round. I mean, like you're saying, he's been so consistent and it's just been getting points just weekend in, weekend out. Like it's insane.
But yeah, I wanted to. It's wild to see, because I mean, I posted this because we now have had 4 race winners this season, and I mean, our like preseason race show or like everything last year, we were like, Max is going to win every single one by 30 seconds. Yep. Now I'm like, no, there's a solid chance of a constructors fight coming on our hands. Like
there is. It is.
Like, we're going to have an exciting rest of the season. We're only in round 8 out of 24. Like, we still have a very big chunk.
We still have 2/3 of the season left to go.
Yeah. Like, and some of the most exciting tracks coming up. Like, the European tracks are always good races. So,
right. Like, that's like, it feels like we're so deep into the season already, and we're such in mid-season form. because of how tight these points are, and now the turn is kind of happening of like, or the turn that it's like, oh, like maybe this person can do this or everything, but it's like we're only a third of the way through the season, so it's like this is insane. Like
we haven't even had like the biggest chunk of upgrades yet, and now there's all these reports coming out with how much damage Perez cost over the weekend. Obviously not his fault. That's going to set back Red Bull in development this season. Like, we're in for a good run of the season, people. We're ready. But yes, that was. Could move on from there. We just want to touch on that, but yes. Okay. Well, I'll just go back and. Oh wait, hold on, 1 second. IndyCar.
So, IndyCar, the Indianapolis 500 was this weekend. It was on Sunday. It was kind of nice.
Rain delay.
After a short rain delay, 4 hours long rain delay.
They had to evacuate the stands. That's how bad the storms were.
Yeah, I also heard that they were like very concerned about not getting the race done in time. Because of like sundown and everything, but luckily they were able to do it. I'm gonna blank on the third place, but Joseph Newgarden was your winner. He's a two-time. Is it back-to-back? Right?
Yeah, back-to-back.
Yeah, two-time back-to-back winner of the Indy 500. Second place was Newgarden. Award, and third place. I don't know. I'm
trying to look it up now, but it's not coming up.
I do the IndyCar app too, so I could look at that.
Yeah, it was a good one. I've also Scott Dixon, go work. When I was watching the Long Beach one because he won the Long Beach, people were like comparing him to Fernando Alonso. Like he's older in IndyCar, he's had a great career, but he's kind of back on like this rise through IndyCar. Right. But yeah, lots of rain delays. They were very concerned by the end. If you watch the full thing, you'll hear the announcer say this. They literally said like the cars, by the time like the race was ending, they're like the cars are never on track this late ever for any race. They're like they're not used to the cooling temperature, so like this could get interesting. But funny enough, all of the cautions were earlier on in the race with a lot of crashes and spin outs and stuff. I was so sad when Will Power spun out. I wanted Will Power to do so well. The top three that started the race were the Penske boys. It was McLaughlin, Newgarden, Will Power, and Newgarden's the only one out of the three that finished the race. Which is wild. It was not a good day for Honda. All the Honda engines just not a good day for Andretti.
I picked up on this, even just watching the highlights, because they covered all the people who went out, and the reporters or the broadcasters were starting to pick up on it, and they were like, and here's, so-and-so out, and they're like, and it's another Honda engine, and I was like, what the hell is happening to Honda?
No, it is so nice with IndyCar. I will give them that, like their leaderboard on the TV, it'll switch from like the timing, and then it'll show what their engine provider, like the graphic is. So then you see what like, car dealership technically, because it is car dealership. Well, Chevy or Honda. So then you'll see who's left. But yeah, Honda did not have a good day. Someone posted it like, I feel bad for whoever is Honda's PR person right now. Because, our engines won't cut out like this. I'm sorry.
They're needed. They're in a shitstorm now. Like, oh god, yeah. Because anybody who follows IndyCar is going to be like, well, I'm not buying a Honda anymore. Like,
but yeah, it was. That was my first IndyCar race or Indy 500 race that I've watched from the beginning to end because it lucked out. We went out right after the Monaco GP, but because of the rain delay, it literally started as I was getting home. So I was able to watch the full thing. And even with it being 200 laps, and I think there were 7 or 8 cautions, which are technically like red flags, like almost restart the race, it did not feel that long. Like it did not feel crazy. It's the way they pass. I think they posted today. They've passed.
I saw this. Isn't it like 100 something overtakes?
No, there were 649 on track passes, the most since the 2017 Indy 500, which
that is insane.
871. Insane. Like, why? Like, what? Doesn't mean, like, and then you think about it, you're like, yeah, okay, because at the end, I literally watched the top 3 with Pato, Rossi, and Newgarden literally, like, weave in and out,
and forth.
like, 6 or 7 times. So I'm like, okay. I mean, even the last 5 laps, the lead changed between the 3 of them multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so exciting. And then it had me until the very end. I was, like, kind of laying down. I was coming off of drinking some wine, so I was kind of laying down getting tired.
Fair.
And literally the last few laps happened, and I was like, sat up because I was like, oh no. I was like, Pato's going to do this. And you heard the crowd. He said he could hear it in his car. When he took the lead at the very end, the crowd went wild. I mean, the announcers even said it, and it's so true. They're like, he is probably the most popular IndyCar driver right now. Like, not close to anyone else. Apparently, Alexander Rossi has a lot of love with the little kids for some reason. Like, people were posting, like, they said who their daughter wanted to win. They're like, Alexander Rossi. And there's this picture came out. He's, like, signing autographs. It's all kids. Like, Alexander Rossi's, like, the kids champion for some reason.
Perfect. Yeah.
But, yeah, so at the end, last corner, Joseph Newgarden takes the lead from Pato, and Pato had the better car. Like, he had more gas left. He had it. Had it. And yeah, Joseph Newgarden wins for the 2nd year in a row.
So this is kind of a good segue into what I wanted to talk about. But obviously, I have not watched as much IndyCar as you have. I've been trying to get into it some more and everything, and I'm very inexperienced, especially when it comes to watching the Indy 500. But Pato overtakes Joseph as they're starting the last lap, right? Which, to me, in my head, because I was watching the highlights and they showed that final whole last lap, which was really cool. I'm very happy they did that. But it felt like, to me, Pato maybe overtook him a little too early. Because it was like Pato had such a good slingshot off of Newgarden to get past him. And then it just felt like Newgarden just had the whole lap to build that draft and build that slingshot to then just literally just go whoop, like right around him. Now, again, I don't know. I was just like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, because to me, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, if Pato waited maybe one corner, maybe one turn, he would have been fine, because it would have built up enough of a gap that then Newgarden would have had to really work to get that slingshot again, and it wouldn't have been in time. But I don't know. I just was watching it, and I was like,
When Newgarden was behind Pato, they were saying that obviously he was in the dirty air, but like, I don't know if it works the same way as F1. Did he get a slipstream? Like, they don't have DRS, but did they have that push to pass button? That's the whole thing with Penske, what they got in trouble for. But like, did he get kind of a slipstream and was able to just like move on up and over? But yeah, no, it was literally the momentum when because he literally takes lead in the last corner, like the second or last corner, right at the end. I remember just being like, no. And then they're automatically like showing Newgarden cheering. And when they cut to that shot of Pato in his car still, helmet on, I was like, he was pissed. He was pissed. And then his post-race interview, they like interview him. He drops an F-bomb on live TV, like didn't even care, but he was in tears. Like the range of my emotions on Saturday was too much.
Like, when I made that post on Thread saying like, oh, I watched highlights and holy shit, I gotta go back and watch it, and everybody was like, like, prepare for tissues in the final interviews. Like, it is so emotional. It
was so he was just like, he was like, I had it. It's like, it's what you work for. Like, I mean, that's their like cream of the crop. That's like their
that's the jewel.
Race. Yeah, the race, like their Super Bowl. And he's like, you just work all year for it. And he's like, I had it. He's like, I think I had the better car. Yeah, he was so dejected. Everyone on the team was just like giving him hugs. His like sister posted this heartfelt thing today. It was heart-wrenching to see. Like, especially with all the how Penske and Newgarden and stuff has been under fire, and like kind of seemed like the underdog. So you just like wanted to root for him because he had such a good shot. Yeah, he has such a good shot. But yeah, it was upsetting to see. But They have like some gala. They have a gala, I guess, every year after that following Monday. So it was last night. Right. And like Newgarden, they all give speeches, but like Newgarden said something really nice about Pato. He was like, you're not. He's like, you're winning one. Like it's coming. Like your time's coming.
You got it. Yeah.
I just still don't get drinking the milk. I get it, but I don't get it. I just don't.
It's very weird.
Drinking milk when you get out of a race car after 200 laps. And
they gotta be like warm as shit too. Mm-hmm. Like they gotta be so hot. And then they're like, give me an. I mean, saying it on paper sounds better than actually what it is. But like being like, give me a nice cold glass of milk. Like I'll take it, sure. But then again, you start drinking it, and milk's like the fucking heaviest thing you're drinking. So it's like, this is not good. Like
I'm pretty sure he chose like whole milk, or like 2%. Like some people chose skim, but like I'm pretty sure he chose like milk.
If it's whole milk, that's a wild move.
Yeah, I can go back.
Definitely a wild move.
They posted a good art like graphic of like a shelf with like a milk jar for every single like driver and what their choice was.
Yeah.
I want to get so big. Did you see? So other content creators got sent a jar of milk. I think it was like pasteurized or whatever, because you're not supposed to drink it. But like they got sent like an Indy 500 like glass jug of milk. I was like, I want that.
Cool. I want that too now.
I was like, I want it.
Have a shelf right there.
I was like, I want it.
In that open spot, just have a glass of milk.
Yeah, but it's definitely cool. It lives up. I didn't even want to say it lives up to the hype, because it's just such an exciting race. I mean, the crowds are huge. But yeah, no. And then I love, what race was it this year that F1 had the trophies that were the circle, because they were supposed to mimic the reefs that they used to wear.
Wasn't that Shanghai?
Yeah, China maybe.
Yeah.
It just looks so cool. Like they had a huge reef for Joseph Newgarden to wear, and it just looks sick. So I wish they could. That's such a cool. Indy 500 does such a good job of keeping the history alive. Right. I have to say, and I don't know if you saw this. So I think it's new this year. They now get like a blue jacket, like the Masters.
Ooh, okay.
So like a championship photo, like class photo on like the bricks on the track. You have to find it. I'll have to find it and send it to you.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so I think now every year the winner gets like another jacket, which is cool.
Go after a coveted blue jacket. That's what I like to hear.
But yeah, that was the Indy 500, people. They are back this weekend in Detroit, which is a quick turnaround. To like for Pato especially, to forget everything bad that happened and then turn around and get right back in the race.
He might be one of those people that needs that, like I know there's people that like get hung up on losses and they're like, I need to step away for a month before I even think about doing this. And then there's other people who are like, well, what's said is done, or what's done is done. Let me get right back in the car and go race and go on to a next race, So maybe Pato's like that.
But Detroit will be cool. By the time this comes out, they'll probably be there. Taja's going, and my friend Ellie that I met in St. Pete, so they'll be posting a bunch of stuff. Detroit's just sick because half of it's like open and free to the public because it's in the city of Detroit. So like
that's right. Yeah. It's
such a cool way to do it. Like I think the right way to do it for races like that. Just make it more accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Indy 500. Did you also see the stat with, before we're going to Pines and Pit Stops, did you see the stat with McLaren for this weekend?
I did see. McLarens? Yes, so I did see between F1, Indy 500, and I think FE. Mm-hmm. There were second places across all the whole board. Yeah.
I want to say it was Sam Burr, but I could be drawing a blank for FE, and then it was obviously Oscar, and then Pato. Yeah, good weekend for. And Zach Brown was in Indy 500. I think last year he was in Monaco. I think he alternates every year.
Makes sense. Yeah. I would understand that.
Yeah. But yeah, Pints and Pit Stops.
Pints and Pit Stops. All right, so we haven't done one of these in a while. I don't have a beer with me, so we're just going with water again. My voice is also like really scratchy right now, so water's good.
From all your screaming at Bachelor Trip?
Yes, from all my screaming and dancing in a bar. So this week, very timely, we have a Monaco GP themed Pints and Pit Stops for Casey. It's
AKA
questions.
Charles Leclerc. Just kidding.
Yes, Charles Leclerc's winning race. So 5 questions, just like normal. I will read you the first question. I will then start the timer. From there, we'll go through the questions, get your time, be done. I will give you a little bit of a hint. The last question, I do not need an exact thing. I just need the general thing.
Because that makes sense. Okay.
Okay. I hope it makes sense. I really hope it makes sense when I read you the question.
Okay.
I don't need an exact reason. I just need the general thing.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So 5 questions. Clock. Like I said, normal. I will read you the first question, and then I will start the clock. I need to sit this way so I can start the clock and look at the questions. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm scared.
How many years has it been since the first Monegasque driver has won Monaco?
93.
When was the last time the top 10 drivers finished where they qualified?
Last year?
How much money in damages did Checo sustain?
Oh my God. 1.5 million. I don't know.
What was the gap to Oscar's car in P2?
P2?
Charles.
Oh, at the end? 8 seconds.
Yeah. What component of their car caused the Haas's to be DQ'd?
Their rear wing?
All right, that was very good. That was a good.
You got me with that Checo question.
You got a 29.32. We started doing this, 2 weeks ago? Last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago, where every question you get wrong,
you add
a second added to your time. So you stand right now.
That's
at
a
29.
You got 5 seconds.
You got a 5 second. Yeah.
Penalty.
5. Oh, we could revamp this whole game. We should do that. So right now you're standing at a 29.32.
Okay.
So you said, how many years has it been since a Monegasque driver has won Monaco? What did you say?
93.
It is 93 years. That is correct. When was the last time the top 10 drivers finished where they qualified? What did you say?
Last year.
It has never happened before.
Oh, wow. Where they qualified?
This past weekend.
Okay.
So this past weekend, the top 10 drivers, where they qualified for the race is where they finished. It's the first time in Formula One history that it's ever happened.
That's what people were saying was boring.
Yeah. So now you're at a 32.
Okay.
I have to write that down or something. How much money in damages did Checo sustain?
2 seconds. I said 1.5 million.
You weren't far off. It is $3 million, or estimated around $3 million.
Okay. I knew it was a lot.
Again, also not his fault, but we'll get into that. What was it? I should have made this question. I'm going to give you a pass on this one because I should have made this question a little bit more specific. What was the gap to Oscar's car from Charles when the race ended is what I should have said. I did not. I just said in P2. So you were close. You said 8 seconds. It was 7 seconds. But I'll give you a pass on that. Okay. So you're still at a 30. You're at a 31.32.
No, I'm at. Don't we add 2 seconds?
No, it's 1 second.
Oh, okay. I was give myself more time.
You have 2 questions. You have 2 questions wrong right now. So you have 2 seconds.
Not the last one.
And then, what component of their car caused the Haas's to be DQ'd? It was their rear wing. The hint I was trying to give you was you don't have to give me the specific reason as to what caused it. I just needed to know that it was on their rear wing.
Yeah. I could tell you it was the rear wing. That's why they were so damn fast.
Yeah. So that puts you at
31. Oh, that's not bad.
31.32. And let me.
I also knew the Charles one because I just listened to that edit that I made earlier again right before we started.
I had a feeling you were going to know most of these. Let me write this down. That is not your fastest time. Your fastest time is a 24:20. So.
I feel like that was that one you did, the pop culture one. When it was the last time there was the China G. Was it? Yeah, China.
Yes,
GP.
I think it was that one. we also have to think of a better way to write these things down. Maybe I can make like an Excel sheet with like an average time at the top and do that. And then say, if you can beat your average time, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I like that.
And then we can add like our guest like leaderboard. We don't have to be in the leaderboard.
Yes.
We can have a guest leaderboard.
Yes.
Welcome to the show behind the show, people.
That's good. We just brainstorm live as we do it.
And we're going to call it, when we get a 1 second penalty, we're just going to call it the Ocon penalty.
We're going to call it the, you get the Ocon penalty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Imagine if
you
you
went
no, wait.
31.
You get all 5 question wrong. That's the Ocon penalty because you get a 5 second penalty.
That's good. Again, we're just fucking figuring it out live. All right, so you got a 31-32, and today's date is the 20th.
20th.
But yes, that's a good segue to lead into Monaco. Do you want me to go first for my team, or
no? We could end with them.
Okay.
There's not that many things to talk about. We could start with the lap 1 disaster because that's kind of Red Bull and Haas together.
Yes. Yeah.
Go into Alpine, and then we can. I mean, sorry to Williams, Aston Martin, Sauber, and VCarb. You weren't very noticeable. So yeah, we can do that.
I do have something for Aston Martin, and this will be very out of character for me, and this will make a lot of people happy. I do have to commend him. I have to commend him for a decent race. He did struggle a bit. He had an issue where he caught a puncture and the tire literally flew off the wheel.
Right after they put one on.
It changed. Yes. And then he had 2 or 3 more overtakes after that. So.
Oh, and his one, was it on Logan? His one was so good, like down on the inside. Yeah, it was good.
Yes. So I do have to commend him for that. He's still not my favorite driver, but he had a decent race this weekend.
Go look up our friend Formula One on Threads posted Lance memes. He's has some good faces to have some good reaction.
You can see that earlier today. There were some solid ones in there, and I was like, "This is a good reaction photo."
The one where he goes, the one where he's like this, like with his plugging. That's a good one. But yes, okay. Since we started with Aston Martin, that was our one nice thing to say Aston Martin. And also another good weekend for VCarb, actually. Now that I say that. Yuki, we mentioned him before, but Yuki, it's the year of Yuki.
It's Mr. Consistent.
He's so consistent, and I don't feel like enough people are talking about it, but he is so consistent.
Well, it sucks for him a little bit because he is kind of getting overshadowed by the whole McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull deal right now. But it's definitely like he finished 8th, so he got 4 points for himself and for VCarb. And it's he
was having good qualifying, good practicing. I feel like he was top 5 in at least every practice session. So wasn't he P3 at one point in a practice session? I feel like I remember seeing his picture. I'm making that up. Was that last week?
He was not P3 this week.
Not P2? Not P1. Maybe it was Imola. It was Imola.
It was Imola practice 2. He placed 3rd. It went Charles, Oscar, Yuki.
Yeah. But yes, so Yuki. Shout out to you, Yuki. He's quickly, but like I said earlier, ever since they made him switch order with Daniel Ricciardo, race 1, week 1, for literally no points, he was like, no, not happening.
Yeah.
But
he's really shown his worth.
Very. Sauber, Williams, can't talk about a lot.
Sauber did have Valtteri had a good overtake on Logan.
Yes, he did.
Going into the one turn, I think it's like turn. I'm trying to remember I think it's like turn 5 or 6. It's right before the hairpin turn. It's that right-hander that leads into the hairpin turn.
Very slow
hairpin. Diving into the inside. But that was really it. I mean, they didn't have much. it's a shame for them because I feel like we always say they didn't do much. That's just so much more like especially true this race because it's just Monaco. And it's like, at least with other races, we can be like, oh, they had a couple overtakes like here and there and everything, like sure. And like, that, you know, they made an attempt here. They had a good battle going. It was like, it was really nothing from Monaco with them at least. Tough race, but
only thing I can say about Williams, our friend on Threads F1 Coffee Corner, who you're very jealous of his Lego display.
Very jealous of.
He posted a video yesterday, like talking about how it was like Ocon and his seat and stuff, and he was saying how no one in the media is reporting that Carlos Sainz on Saturday night was in the Williams motorhome. I truly believe Carlos to Williams is coming true.
That is such a wow. That is, I mean, that would be a huge
watch them get freaking
Williams.
Adrian Newey. Watch them get, because apparently there's rumors that Ferrari is out on Newey. I don't know how solid they are because I can't remember who. I saw it like once or twice this weekend. Like from no one, I might just be a rumor, but like watch Newey go be with Williams because he wants to work with another F1 nerd in James Vowles, and he doesn't have to move very far.
Yeah. Oh shit. I know that's a big thing for him too.
Albon and Carlos with a Newey car.
Let's see, William. If that happens, that would be insane. But
yeah,
I did not know that Carlos was in their hospitality.
I didn't either.
10. That's pretty wild. But yeah, I just well, but
I feel like it's coming. I feel like, especially there was like radio message this week, like early, I think it was FP1. Like James Vowles was being like very sassy. Apparently he said something about when they brought up V-Carb. He was like, I don't want to hear about like whatever Racing Bulls, like sugar-free Visa Cash app, buy an extra valve. Like
he said like Visa Cash app something, buy one, get one free. Like,
and then someone asked him about Carlos Sainz and he was like, Carlos Sainz who? Like joking around. It's giving hello, Lewis. Like it's been 1 year since that iconic press conference. That's what it's giving. But yes, we'll start lap 1. Turn. I don't even know what turn it was. It was very early on.
Turn
like
1.
2 or 3. No, it wasn't turn 1. They came out of turn 1.
Going up the hill. They were going up the hill, so it's right after turn 1 that they.
It was right after turn 1 because you're gonna be like, of course you do. Like Charles' friends, they're his 2 friends live in an apartment right there. So like I think she would post an Instagram story and you see the start of the crash as it's happening and they live right there. Yeah.
It's going up into turn 2 that it happens, but it's the brief little like right hand adjustment into then the left hand turn.
Yeah.
It goes into the the middle of the track and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, first of all, thank God, like so happy that Checo got out of that safely.
Oh my God, that car was
messed up. It just goes to show like the brilliance of engineering that goes into keeping the driver cockpit intact when when people slam into the wall.
I kept seeing, I think Hells or someone else was like, it's that survivor cell, like within that car. That's literally the only thing that did not break. And thank God. Yeah. I mean, he was quick to get out of that car, thankfully. But yeah, no, that was a bad crash. I also believe, I'm trying to find back, because Hells had a good response to someone yesterday in regards to this, because I can see it being, because it was so quickly forgotten about, and they were like, no, there's no like racing incident, we're not gonna like investigate it. It was like so quick, because I think I've watched so many onboards. I've watched Checo's onboard. He sees him coming in the rearview mirrors and doesn't back off. But yes, do I think Kevin Magnussen is at fault as well? Yeah, absolutely. I also think Checo is a little bit at fault. Nico just got caught in the crossfire, unfortunately.
When I watched the replay of it, I was so upset for Nico because I was like, I see the thought process in Nico's head because he's watching this crash happen on the right side of him, and there's a big lane open on the left, and he's like, I can get through this. And honestly, that would probably be safer than me slamming on the brakes and trying to like stop before getting caught up in this. And he's almost through. Like it's enough on his onboard that you see him kind of get through, and you have this like split like microsecond of he made it. And then you just see him get caught and go like sideways, and you're like, oh, fuck, like no. But
yeah, Haas killed me in fantasy this week because I had Hulkenberg and I have Haas as a constructor, so I lost like 65 points for Haas alone.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I think again, as with any racing incident, I think there's always both parties are a little bit involved. I think on Checo's side of it, it is kind of the idea of, okay, yes, you were ahead of him. You kind of saw him coming, but you were also in Monaco, so it's like you have to be extra aware of space in Monaco and space that you have to push your car a little bit, maybe more to the right or the left. Like you need to be hyper aware of that more than you already are on a normal track.
Yeah.
Kenny Mag, on the other hand, I think plays a bigger part in it.
Yep.
With the idea of kind of the opposite of Nico, where Nico saw a lane wide enough for him that he could go through. Kevin saw the lane. It wasn't wide enough, but he thought it was, and kind of just still hammered it in and went for it. And again, it plays into the idea of like, you just, especially in Monaco, you need to be aware of like how much space you have, like so much more aware of how much space you have. And yeah, I mean, it was very scary because it was like the wheels make contact, and Checo car literally, they're racing like this, and Checo just goes and then into the wall, and it's like he got T-boned right into the wall. It was a scary crash, but like you said, Checo got out really fast, which was really good to see.
Yeah. There's the photographers right there, and one did get hurt, but the photographer ended up being fine. The video someone took of Checo's car hitting the wall, like from behind, like very far back, is scary. But yeah, this picture, this impact looks like it should be like Checo should have walked away injured. That's what the impact of this picture looks like. It's freaky. I don't like it, but yeah, I saw it earlier and I was like, that's a like insane picture. But yeah, thankfully he is okay. I know you brought up like if what's it called? Like stopped. Did you see Joe's onboard?
Oh yeah, he did. He was
coming from behind and saw it, and he didn't slam on his brakes, but he definitely slowed down, and he was able to like get through without getting any damage. But he was the behind, and thank God, because that could have been a nasty pileup. We had 3 cars. It could have been more.
If Joe, for whatever reason, it like takes his eyes off the road for like 1 second,
or if he was any closer to Nico, like he was getting wrecked also. But yeah, and then when they lifted that car up in the crane, I will say they cleaned that up very quickly. It did not feel like a 40-minute red flag. No,
it was 40 minutes?
Yeah. I was like, it did not seem like it was 40 minutes. Why did you feel like it was like 10?
People work asked me today, like, oh, how long was the session suspended for? And I was like, oh, like 20 minutes, that's it. Like
it was 40 minutes.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, good for the Monaco crew to get that all cleaned up and everything. Yeah. But it was a very scary crash, like we said. I'm happy everybody walked away from it unharmed. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. That kind of crash, that's something I would expect at least Checo to get out and be like, my hand's broken, or like like my leg hurts. You know, the fact that he was able just to hop up and get out and walk away was so like, fast. All right, like cool, you know. And
I didn't think he stayed. I saw pictures. I think he was like on his plane that night, went right home, and then his like wife posted a picture of him and the kids like sitting on the couch, because that one was scary.
I mean, if I'm his wife, I'd be terrified too.
Yeah. I'm now just thinking about it because I said Joe was coming up from behind. How slow was Joe going? Because the Haas started from the pit lane. Did he get an awful start?
He must have had an awful start.
Was he behind the Alpines? Because where did the Alpines? We'll get into that, but I can't remember where the Alpines. I wasn't even paying attention to the Alpines. I don't know where they made contact.
Where they started or where they made contact. Where they made contact was the turn going into the tunnel. So it was coming out of that.
Okay.
It's that hard right-hander that as soon as you come out of it, you see the tunnel ahead of you.
Yeah, where Checo crashed during qualifying the year.
Correct. Yeah, where he spun out right there. Yeah.
But yeah, like we said, not a good weekend for Haas because, like we mentioned earlier, they were disqualified after qualifying for stuff with their wing. It was like whatever you said, Owen. I'm probably gonna get it wrong.
So the layman's terms is there's adjustable parts on the rear wings on the front and rear wing, and those I think have a certain degree of like length because you have a piece that's like this essentially that's creating downforce when the wind hits it, and the more length you have going up, the more wind is going to get swooped in and sent out, creating more downforce.
Oh.
So I think they have a little bit of regulation as to how long it can be, and they're I believe the upper part of it was exceeding a certain
too tall or something.
Too tall, yeah. So that's why they were disqualified. Yeah,
I saw them going in qual because it was like Q2. They went out and they were like 1 and 2 for like a good few laps. They were probably like, "Why are they so fast?"
Yeah, what the hell? You know?
What's going on? But yeah, after being both
random selection,
after both being disqualified, I feel like that goes to show. Like last year when Charles and Lewis were disqualified, Carlos and George should probably have been disqualified also. They should have checked both cars, and they probably would have been as well. But yeah, after both being disqualified, then they're both out of the race. Literally, like 2 lap, not even 2 corners in. I will say, because both their daughters were there, that had not been nice for them to watch that crash.
Oh God, no! That must have been terrible for their daughters to watch. And I'm sure part of what was going through their head after the shock of it all and everything is, crap, my daughter just have to watch that, like, let me go make sure she knows that I'm okay. But
and then definitely Checo was out, but
Checo was out, and then we get to
Alpine.
The Alpines.
Alpine, they can't lie to us this year on Drive to Survive because Alpine was being followed by Netflix all weekend. I just want to let you know. They were following Ocon specifically all weekend.
Good.
Like, you can't...
Netflix probably eating this shit up, too.
They probably love it. Like, you can't make... How we always say, like, Lando's even said, like, half the drama we see is not real. Oh, we will know the drama with this episode is real.
Yeah.
We could have... this is sometimes I wish they went, like, race by race, but this year I want Charles to have his own episode just about this win because it's obviously special.
Oh, you already know that Lando and Charles are getting their own race.
Yeah. But, like... We could have, like, 4 episodes on Monaco between Charles, Red Bull, the Haas, Alpine.
It's just, like, it's a ticking time bomb.
Oh, and
right now.
Yeah.
And this latest incident in Monaco with Ocon trying to overtake or do whatever he was trying to do there,
to Gasly,
popping literally a wheelie on his nose, like he did like a handstand with his car, essentially, like, and crashing on the floor. Idiotic move, first of all, but the fact that he did that is just like that just took like a whole like 10 seconds off the time bomb,
Oh, no, and then the way he responded when they first interviewed him after, I think Sky Sports coverage might have showed it, and he was like, I don't know, I haven't watched it yet, I can't comment. People were literally like, Ocon, you're sounding like the biggest asshole right now. Like, you just could have cost your team major points if Gasly also went out. But yeah, then they come back and he gets a 5-place grid penalty. Well, first it was like 10 seconds, and then they switched it to 5-place grid penalty for the next race. So if he doesn't get benched, because there's rumors that he could potentially be benched for Canada, it would follow over to whatever race is next. So it would be, I think, Spain's after Canada. But yeah, So
could you imagine if he gets benched for like the rest of the year and then has like
next year.
2 seasons where he doesn't drive and then he gets signed again and it's like his first race? It's like,
Like,
I gotta
excuse
serve
me.
a 5-place grid penalty from Monaco in 2024. Like
Talk about like being on the podium last year to
yeah,
literally almost taking both of you out. And like after Gasly's radio last week where he was like, I thought I had the priority, like, why are we doing this? Like, yeah, that fuse is being lit. They even asked Jack Doohan after and they're like, have you talked to anyone yet? And he was like, no, because everyone was already speculating like what was going to happen. Is Jack Doohan going to get thrown in? But they're like, no. But
it's that organization is a mess right now.
A mess.
And
like, I feel bad for those investors. There's big name investors.
yeah, it's definitely they're not in a good spot. And there's like literally like I feel like there's no other way to put it because it's just like they're in a really shitty situation right now. That's also strictly speaking outside of how poor their performance has been this year. Like this whole beef with their drivers and this underlying like I hate you
always have
between their teammates. Yeah, always have hated you, always will hate you. Like not good. Like and I will say this: I don't think anything Pierre did this weekend. I don't think he did anything. Like it's all I think entirely on.
Oh no! Yeah,
Esteban's fault, but it's not looking good for either of them. Like they're not this whole inter team rivalry thing is making a poor picture of everybody right now. So
no, because especially they both need contracts for next year, so it's not like it's painting a good picture of them like working well with others, like being a good team. It's not. I don't know why they ever thought to bring over Gasly was going to go. Like I don't know why they thought that was going to go well, but that team is a mess. I would love to be on the like a fly on the wall in that team in the meetings. But yeah, we'll continue on next week's episode of F1 Underground. We'll see if any more developments. It'll be the Alpine update.
yeah, right.
Yeah. To Red Bull, we're not finishing with them, surprisingly, this week because they struggled again. And I will have to say,
they struggled.
People are guessing they could maybe struggle in Canada because that track is also very bumpy.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did not do well on this track because it was bumpy. Everyone was like, it's going to be a fluke. Like, don't get your hopes up. It's going to be like Imola. Max is going to come out and go fastest again. No.
Yeah. God, it's so hard for me right now to buy into
they're
Red Bull is failing and Red Bull is struggling. Like train. I would say I'm at the ticket booth though, if that makes sense. Like I'm standing there like, do I get on? Do I not get on? Like, what do I do here? I'm at the ticket booth. I'm not fully onto it yet, but yeah, I mean, if Canada is that bumpy, and this weekend, like, you know, Max was saying, like, he had a radio at one point where he was, I'm jumping around like a kangaroo, you know, like I'm getting headaches, like doing this.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign for them. It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. It's definitely not working well. I mean, and we said it last week. This is the exact same time Checo started struggling. Obviously, like this week, it's not fully his fault that crash, but I mean, he was out qualified by Logan Sargent.
Yeah.
Who apparently, I don't know how much I believe this. I'm going off. I haven't seen much of it, but apparently because how many like damages and stuff Williams has had, Logan was running last year's rear wing, like spec.
Oh, really?
People are like, okay, well, if you're going to boot Logan Sargent because he's not performing well, stop giving him the bad parts because what's he supposed to base it off of? Like,
yeah, that's tough if he's already under pressure of you're not performing well, but also here's last year's car, you know, to perform with. You know, that's a tough spot. But
yeah, I was trying to I was trying to say when's the last time Max wasn't on the podium, but it was Singapore last year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Singapore last year. We actually did talk about this, I think, at the party I was at, that we were asking the question too of when was the last time it happened. But Yeah. The whole Red Bull situation, I mean, it's definitely, like I said, it's very much piquing my interest of the, okay, do we have a constructors battle now? Or do we have a driver standings battle? Like where, like you kind of hit the nail on the head too. In our preseason show, we had talked about Max winning every race by 30 seconds, and it was going to be a Red Bull sweep again this year. And we're in very like uncharted territories right now of this because we've been so used to Max dominating. So it's now that this is happening, I think everybody's kind of like holding their breath and just being like, where do we go from here? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
You know?
And Max Verstappen was pissed being held back by George that entire race.
100%.
I mean, he came across his radio saying he should have brought a pillow. Like, he was that bored.
Yeah.
But then someone did bring up, he was asked in an interview where they're like, yeah, but what about Charles? He goes, I didn't say the winner was like, I was bored for the winner. He was like, my race personally was boring. He's like,
it was boring. Yeah.
He was like, don't say what I like, trying to say what I said. But yeah, it definitely, like you said, you're at the ticket window. I'm like, do I want to make popcorn or not? Like, the show is about to get good. But yeah, they're definitely.
The one thing that I did like from this weekend is Max was really, really channeling his inner Owen with how much and how openly he was like, I don't like this place.
Yeah.
Like, when he qualified P6 and was doing his like post-qualifying stuff, they were asking him like, how does this affect the race? Like, what are you going to do and everything? And he was like, I don't know. I don't really care. And it's like, yes. Like,
I wish he had the 24-hour sim race this weekend because he didn't have to worry about anything.
He definitely, like, Monaco is not his favorite and everything. And I mean, it's not my favorite either, but I understand the tradition and the legacy behind it. And I respect it because of that. But it definitely does make for a very non-interesting race. But again, like, I can see why drivers think that and why drivers are like, hey, we need to switch this up, you know?
Yeah, but I can also see, like, this is what I was talking about. It's such a one-off from every other race of the season. Because you make one wrong move and you're crashing into the wall and you're out. Like, it's almost like, that's why I think it's up there with the Triple Crown with the Indy 500, because one wrong move they make on that track, they're spinning out and going into the wall.
Done.
Or the grass. Yep. It's so, and people are like, it's not the tire. What tire management? I know there was not, like, there was literally 6 pit stops, I think, but
something like that. Yeah.
They still had to manage the tires. Like, the top 3 didn't pit. Lando didn't pit. So they had to manage those tires from the entire start of the race or the start after the red flag to the end. Like, there's a point, like, I'm pretty sure that's why Charles was able to get 7 seconds ahead of Oscar by the end. Like, you had to manage your tires. You had to do the strategy yet. There's just so much more, I think, maybe on the technical side that goes into Monaco than there is, say, Spa. Like, it's just because it's obviously not a fast track, but, like, they were still going pretty fast with those times.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I see both sides. But yeah, as a Charles fan, I was on the edge of my seat for all 78 laps. So
right. Yeah, Monaco is definitely, it's more of a mind and tactical game.
Yes.
Than it is a racing game. You know, like you're saying, like with Spa, sure, it's a tactical game. You have to plan out a strategy, but Spa and other tracks allow themselves have these moments where you can like overtake when you didn't think you were going to be able to, or stuff like that. Monaco straight up is like, when we need to hit at this time to undercut them, so then we can do this, and we need to get out before this. Like, it's a very tactical game. So yeah, I can understand why some people watching it are like, this is a boring race. I want to see overtakes and this and that and everything. But thinking about it that way, I think is a fun way to think about it, because you're like, how many calculations are going on in a racer's head to be like, if I mess this up, I'm done. You know,
and then I watched the Formula E race in Monaco, and if Formula 1 cars were just a little smaller, that race would be exciting. There were so many overtakes in Formula E because they can easily pass. There were overtakes in F2 and F3. Those 2 races were wild because the cars are smaller, so they can easily overtake. I think the size of the cars for F1 in Monaco don't work. So, I do get it, but yeah, it's a totally different game, Monaco.
sure. I could be quoting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure with the new regulations coming and the new engine regulations in 2026, I think cars will be able to decrease in size a little bit.
Hopefully.
So again, this is very broad sentence because it was a long time ago when I watched this video or read this article, whatever it even was. But maybe it's enough to kind of cause a little bit more overtakes in Monaco, but we'll see. But regardless, the Red Bull, like I said, the Red Bull's dying train. I'm not fully on. I'm at the window kind of looking at it and being like, do I want to? Do I not want to? What am I doing?
Oh.
You know?
All right, well, you start with McLaren, and then I can.
I don't have much on McLaren. It's honestly, I really don't have that much. I'm happy with the result.
Oh my!
We talked about we had talked about in the preview that I was a little nervous for the results this week just because of it being a very slow cornering track.
They look good
and like no fast turns on it whatsoever. So the fact that we got Oscar on the podium and Lando P4, I think is awesome. Oscar, his radio message after he crossed the line pretty much sums up my thoughts. And it was like, oh, P2 in Monaco, I'll take it. Like, it was just like, I am good to go with that. And they hit my goal as well of they finished in front of Mercedes. And that's all I can ask for. So that's really it. That's my thoughts on Monaco. I will say whenever they did the overhead camera, and I was staring at a yellow car instead of a orange car.
I thought it was Renault.
Very confusing for a second. I was like, who is that? And then I remembered, I was like, it's McLaren in the Senna livery. So I think
nice.
it kind of looked beautiful on the track. But
yeah,
in terms of racing and being a McLaren fan, I'm happy with the result. You finished in front of Mercedes and you got through Monaco. That's perfect.
Oscar is now adopted into a new family, so that also was
Oscar is adopted into a new family. That has been the best running joke.
And I'm so happy it's going. But we've never. Did you see what his mom posted? She was like, "Oh, can I adopt someone else?" And then she brought up Yuki. So then after the race, she was like, "Congrats to my boys," and tagged Oscar and Yuki.
That's awesome.
And we still never got a family photo. So Charles Leclerc. Post that damn photo. I know your dog was there on Friday. Post the photo.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can. This is a good segue into Ferrari because we have to talk about the two drivers that I think hate each other that finished next to each other, Carlos and Oscar, and how Carlos got the puncture because they made the slightest touch.
It was a barely any touch.
Yeah, and Carlos got the puncture. Luckily, he was able to get. I don't think they were through the first sector, so he was able to get back up to start P3 because I was nervous. I was genuinely nervous. I was like, if Charles is to start with Oscar and Lando behind him, I was like, he will be in trouble.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, but so that... What?
Sorry, I just had this random thought too. One of Carlos's radio message was like lap 50-something, said like if Lando pits right now and gets on softs, he was like,
in trouble.
He's in like Charles is in trouble. Like saying like Lando will get through all of us. Like
which I think that's when Carlos started backing up a little bit, getting closer to Lando, so then Lando didn't have time to pit for like a free pit stop. But yes, I'm gonna talk about him first before we go into the curse being over. And you're gonna maybe choke on water. Carlos was a perfect teammate this weekend.
Wow. You know what? I do agree with this. I'm happy to hear you say it too, because I was really hoping you were gonna say it.
No, and I was genuinely nervous because like him starting P3, I was like, is he gonna work as a team player? Like what's he going to do? Like you never know what Carlos is gonna do, like what is going through his mind. So I was nervous. But yeah, he was genuinely a good team player because like him and Oscar were very close for a while. And then once he backed up, he was up close to keep Lando back. He made it work. And I mean, getting P1 and P3 in Monaco for Ferrari was
huge.
A perfect result. Yeah. I mean, P2 would have been nice, like P1 and Ferrari 1-2, but P1 and P3 was good. And he was also struggling at first. The first FP1 and 2, Carlos was not doing too hot. So I was a little nervous, but he was a perfect teammate. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate the hard work.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm here for it. But yes, now moving on.
Oh boy. Here we go.
The curse is over, people. The curse is fucking over.
It is finally over.
The curse is over. Like I said, I was on the edge of my seat all 78 laps. I thought, I'll go back to qualifying. I won't make this long, but I'll go back to qualifying. Q2, I was like, he's not going to get pole. I was like, he's not. I was like, what's he doing? It's not going to happen. And then Max comes through Q3, P6, and I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. I was like messaging someone else, like, I've lost hope. And then it happened, and I was like, okay, hope's back. Hope's back. Yeah, no, perfect. I mean, he was on fire all weekend. He was flying during the practice sessions. Like,
yeah,
he looked like someone who was born and raised on those streets. Like, could drive that circuit with his eyes closed. Like, is used to driving his custom Ferrari around on those streets.
It felt like he finally like let himself believe and buy into the idea of, I've driven these streets since I was a kid. Like, I know every nook and cranny in here. Like, and that's the thing. Like, that just carried him through the entire weekend because he was, like you said, moving during all of his practice sessions. I mean, the only blip he really had during his practice sessions was catching that piece of the Sauber car underneath of his floor.
Yeah, and I was so nervous.
Like, that wasn't even really, I mean, kind of his fault. He ran over it, but also at the same time, like,
no, he had no time to back off.
Right. So it's like not even really his fault. So how much of a blip was it really for him? But yeah, I mean, it was funny, like, sitting there watching it because I'm watching it with a group of guys and like they don't know how much like you were so excited for this you were. And they don't obviously, like, they weren't in Miami with us when we watched Lando. So it's like I'm sitting there and just being like, I know almost exactly how Casey's feeling right now, but I feel like you might have it a little bit better than me just because it was Monaco. So it's that experience of watching Charles winning a race and then also winning in Monaco. You're like, oh, holy shit. Like, insane.
I will tell you, I was stood in front of my TV for the last 15 laps. I don't blame you. I was because I was like, please don't mess anything up. And then you find out he was like already crying for the last 15 laps and just like driving the car at the end. It literally came together perfectly, I will have to say. I mean, Brian, his new race engineer or race driver, like, I mean, 2 races, you have a podium and a race win. Like, it's
a good start.
Good job. Yeah.
It's a good start.
And he just seems more, not that Javi never gave me that much, like, unconfidence, but Brian's responses to Charles are just like, no, we've got it. Like,
yeah, no, don't worry about it. We're good.
And the best was at one point they were like, you need, like, they didn't say slow down, but it was literally on the lines of slow down, and Charles was like, no. Kept going. It was getting faster and faster. Yeah, no, everything, it was just, and then, like, just seeing the crowd, like, it was so, I mean, you hear the yacht boats going off, because, like someone said, it's not like the 3 from the England, like, driving at Silverstone. Yes, that's their hometown. That's their home country race. But, like, this is Charles' hometown. Like,
this is,
this like, is his hometown.
I don't even have the words because it's like, it really is. Like, I can't imagine doing something similar, like, at home. Like, being like, I'm a worldwide star now on this level, and I'm winning a race on this level of scale in a town that I would walk, pulling something out of my ass here, but like Charles being like, oh, I used to walk down the street when I was like 10 and get ice cream.
Yeah, so like the one corner at the swimming pools where I got a school bus. Like, that's where I got off the school bus. Like, what? Like, just thinking of that, I feel like if it's someone that was like on the Eagles, born and raised in Philly, and then they won the Super Bowl in Philly. Like, I feel like that's how to say it because it's that big of a deal. And then I watched F1 TV coverage, and thank God I did, because Alex Jake's entire last poetry of a speech that he gave.
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
it's one of the best pieces of commentary, I feel like, sports commentary I've ever heard, because he brought everyone into it. Like, he summed up Charles Leclerc's entire career and life story in that last lap, like talking about Jules and how Jules said to Ferrari, like, no, you need to sign him.
You have to sign him.
Yeah. Losing his dad and how he lied to his dad 2 days like before he passed, saying, no, I already signed for Ferrari. He did not. Like, all the trouble that he's had at Monaco, in Ferrari, and when he was in Sauber. Like, it was just so perfect. And then you heard the yachts going over it. And then, yeah, it was perfect. Beautiful. Yeah, like I said, one of the best pieces of sports commentary. I never thought I would cry watching an F1 race, but yeah, I started crying watching an F1 race.
And that, I don't know if it's possible, but hang that video and audio clip of that race ending in the Louvre. Hang it in the Louvre. It's beautiful. It was so
perfect.
So well done by Alex. And I love the fact that he talked about his dad. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, again, like he said, like, he told him a little white lie before he, like, was passing away, and now look at him, like, he's not lying to him anymore. Like, it was just like, it was such a good capstone to this entire event, and it was just like, holy shit, yeah. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now, just because it's like, it's such a beautiful call when you hear it spelled out like that, of everything, with Jules Bianchi saying, like, you need to sign him, like, you need to bring him here, and then everything was dad, and then him saying the grandstands that Charles has watched be built over his lifetime, like, and now there's
whole speech tattooed on my arm.
Now there's like thousands of people standing on them cheering for him. Like, I don't know why I'm picturing this in my head. I'm like channeling like my inner movie director here. I want a shot of one of the corners of the race. I want a young Charles Leclerc standing there. And I want him looking at something, and then it's Charles driving, like he's dreaming of F1, and it's him driving past. Like, that's when I think of that, I'm like, that's when it's really clicking in my head of like, oh my God. Like just the what it means to him.
It's not just any race win. Like that, when he wins World Constructors one day, or World Drivers Championship one day, like, Monaco is going to be maybe a close second or tied for first. Like, winning that race for the first time is up there. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So like I said, I started to cry hearing Alex Jakes, and then you hear his radio, and you hear Brian go, finally, we did it. I was like, oh, you did it. Like, no, we're P1, and we're P1. You got finally. And you hear Charles scream like loudest blood-curdling scream.
Guttural victory scream I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, it just felt like there was like no other way he could have let out that emotion other than that.
Well, like, and I feel like even at the end of the scream, you can hear it waver a little bit. Like, he was starting to get emotional. But then, you hear in the cool-down room with Carlos, he was like, no, I was like having trouble seeing the last few laps because I was starting to tear up. And he was like, fuck, Charles, no, not now. Like, stop it. Yeah, and then the interview with Jenson Button and how he had to step away because he started to cry, that's when I lost it. I was like, I can't do this. And then they interviewed Jenson, like, on the post-race for Sky. They were like, how did you not shed a tear? He was like, no, I was very close to shedding a tear. He's like, just because I knew, like, you could see it written all over his face what that meant to him. But yeah, like, the Ferrari garage, Alex J's call, Fred being up on the podium was iconic.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just... I mean,
the Prince was crying for Charles. Like, the Prince of Monaco was crying for Charles. Like, that was a storybook ending. You couldn't have written a better script or movie. Like, that was a movie watching that race on Sunday. That was absolutely perfect. I won't go on any longer. But yeah, no, it was definitely my favorite race. I'm happy I was able to watch it. I'm happy I'm a F1 fan. Races like that make me happy that I am, like, watching Lando get his first win in Miami, watching Charles get his win in Monaco. Like, there are races that I'm like, yeah, I chose the right sport to be a fan of. But
it's definitely, it is wild too, thinking about it, that the past two races we've watched have been Lando and then Charles.
That's what I put. I said, can we talk about how the last 2 wins out of the last 3 races are so on brand for us? They're like, no, it's literally you and Owen. Like,
Yeah.
Like last year, I would have been like, no, we're not seeing this.
No, if you would have told us last year that we would have seen Lando get his first win in Miami and then Charles get his first win, not first win ever, but first win in Monaco, like
nah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're nuts. Like, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, before, I don't know if you have anything else. I do have one question from Linus, and then we can end on that.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. So let's hear Linus's question.
Well, his first question to me was, "Are you alive?" I said, well, I answered. I said, "These are noted," but to answer question 1, barely. Like, Mom and Dad came to pick me up. Literally, they were coming, and like the podium wasn't even over, like getting ready to end. And I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not even showered. I'm not even dressed." I was like, "I can't."
Ready to go.
It's like I had to take all this in. Okay, but the real question is, are Ferrari genuine contenders to Red Bull Constructors Championship? Yes. I truly believe so.
I am going to go with a yes. I will say with the caveat, it's the same kind of yes as I said with Red Bull dying. I'm not fully on board that train yet. I will say this, depending on what happens in Montreal, I may be fully on that train. If it is a good weekend for Ferrari in Montreal, I will be fully on that train, riding it to wherever it goes. You know,
well, even if it's like
definitely
Max P1 and Charles Carlos P2, P3 of some sort, like, still killer points.
Yes, that is still, yeah. If, like I said, Max, I think, could and maybe will come out with a vengeance, as he's done with, I believe, all the races he's lost so far. You know, like, he's come back the next and has just killed it.
Yeah, they're 24 points away from Red Bull.
Right. So that's the thing. A 2-3 could be very good for them. You know, I mean, that's huge. But short answer is yes. I do think that Ferrari is a legitimate contender now for the Constructors' Championship. I say yes, but I don't fully believe it. But like I said, Montreal, depending on what happens, like you said, Case, even if Max wins and they get a 2-3, I'm saying it, we are in for a hell of a rest of the season. And
I'm going to be glued to my TV every single race. Like, I'm not missing any single one.
Very, very interesting as to how it could go down and what happens.
I mean, this is also the other side of it. Like, Drivers' Championship side is not out of the question with so much of the season left. Like, I'm doing the math real fast. There's 31 points between Max and Charles. That's Charles wins next. If Charles wins Canada, that's 25 points right there. Like,
yep.
If God forbid Max was to DNF, like, yeah, that's. I truly believe we are in for a good rest of the season.
It's not extremely common to be able to be like, it's not. You can't say Max is going to DNF and have it be like, oh, there's a chance that could happen, but. It feels like it's a common thing now to say, or like it feels much easier to say, like,
they're struggling.
Max could be struggling. Like, Max could have an off weekend, you know. But yeah, I am so excited for where this rest of the season goes, and just cannot wait to see what happens. It's gonna be so good.
Give us an Oscar win next, please.
Please give us an Oscar win. That would be such a good capstone to this season already. Like, if he wins within like the next like 3-4 races, like, that would be so awesome to see, and so awesome just for McLaren in general.
Yeah. But I don't think anything else, right?
I have nothing.
All right, I can close this out. Thank you for joining us on another episode of F1 Underground. I put on threads earlier. I wonder what this episode is going to be about, and we knew. Yeah. We knew. But yes, thank you so much. As we said at the beginning, our socials are scrolling at the bottom, so please go give us a follow on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. As always, please leave us a comment or review on wherever you listen to the podcast, Spotify, Apple, anything else I'm missing. We will be back next week to talk about to preview Canada to preview our watch party that's coming up very, very soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much. And we will be back next week. Thank you.